This is going to be, I think, it's going to be an entertaining fight. We have John Castaneda versus Kyung Ho Kang. Mr. Perfect is his nickname. Now, Mr. Perfect, he's 19-9. He is 4-1 in his last five. He's coming off that rear naked choke over Christian Quinones. He is fighting John Castaneda, Sexy Maxi nickname, which that will be what I will call him for the rest of this video. He is 3-2 in his last five, coming off of that decision dub over Mooney Gafurov. Both these guys kind of, I mean, I think Mr. Perfect has a 3-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. He is the older fighter here, though, at 36 years old, and John Castaneda is 31 years old. The fight odds for this right now, I think these are extremely interesting because anytime that I see a line like this, I'm just intrigued by it. So right now, John Castaneda is a minus 158. He opened up at a plus 120. So he was a dog that actually flipped line to a favorite. So that should tell you right there that, the bookies, odd makers, they made Mr. Perfect a favorite, and then instantly bettors made Sexy Mexi a favorite. So we have some differing opinions on this fight already. Some people might have got some, nice dog value on John Castaneda. Now, Sexy Mexi, I mean, come forward fighter, likes to pressure, uh, pretty fast hands, and he also likes to shoot for takedowns when he has the opening amid the chaos that he likes to fight in. He likes to fight in the pocket and get into firefights, very typical of Mexican fighters. Tests his chin in pretty much nearly every fight. Has a wide variety of strikes, but I don't think he has like the most power. He relies really more on volume and pace. Never been subbed in his career and has 6 subs himself, with 3 in the UFC. So pretty well-rounded guy in terms of grappling as well. I think that he's pretty live for subs just because he already has 3 subs in the UFC. He's going up against a guy in Mr. Perfect who's a clean technical striker, really snappy jab. I think this guy's pretty overrated in terms of his jab. Pretty quick leg kick as well. If you saw his fight against Danab Batagarel Dana, I think he just tore up Dana's leg, and that was the kind of determining factor in that the fight there. He does have a good job of kind of mixing in his takedown and grappling as well. He lands 2 takedowns every 15 minutes. Pretty good takedown accuracy at 55%, takedown defense 70%, so pretty solid over there. He's also pretty live for a sub as well. I mean, he has 4 subs in the UFC, 12 subs overall in his career. I mean, he's coming off a rear naked choke in his last fight where he kind of clubbed and subbed Christian Quinones. Um, Honestly, I think Mr. Perfect is kind of underrated, especially by the betting community at times. I mean, he is similar to the Iron Turtle at 185. I don't know that guy's name, but I know his nickname. And yeah, they're like pretty similar in the way they both kind of fight as well. I mean, I think that the only loss that has me a little bit concerned is that Mr. Perfect did lose to Ronnie Yaya like a
Oh
couple
my
fights
God, that would
ago.
be
Yeah,
bad luck.
yeah. That's not a good loss to have on your resume, but he did bounce back with 2 back-to-back wins, right? So that's something that's pretty good. Um, I think that this fight could play out similar to the last fight that Mr. Perfect had, right? I mean, he's fighting against a guy who also likes to kind of pressure and be in his face. I think the difference here, though, is that I think Sexy Mexi is just going to be a better version of Christian Quinones in all aspects. I mean, I think that he's constantly going to pressure and get in Mr. Perfect's face, and I think that he'll grind out a decision against this guy. Now, I don't know if I'm going to make a play on this yet, just because I think that this is going to be a pretty close fight, and just the way that Sexy Mexi fights. I mean, always in your face, pressuring. That's something that I could see him walking himself into a club and sub as well. So I'm probably going to stay away from this fight and just enjoy it and watch it. But the pick here is Sexy Mexi by decision. But I'm most likely staying away from this fight. Alex, what are your thoughts on this fight here?
Um, yeah, so it's actually really interesting when you read those lines. I didn't look at the lines myself yet. But when I was breaking down the tape, I actually have Sexy Mexi winning. Like that's my fighter
Yeah.
that I picked. Um, Looking at, the tape, I agree with you. I think Kang, he looks really nice in the stand-up game.
Yeah,
Um, Very quick, low calf kicks, and he utilizes his range pretty well. He's kind of like a tall-ish fighter, like very rangy. Um, and I think to beat Kang, uh, to beat like those types of fighters, and especially him, you have to kind of close the distance,
hmm,
and kind of pressure him. You can't let him chip away at you like from distance, and so I think Sexy Mexi will be able to do those things. Like you said, he'll bring the pressure, and he will come forward. Now the obviously the fear is that he could get caught, like the way Quinones got caught in Kang's last victory. But I think Sexy Mexi, um, he's more of a vet. He's been around the UFC for a while. So, yeah, my pick here is Castaneda. But not. I might put him in parlays. We'll see. We'll see. I do think he'll win.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good fight no matter what. So something that I'll tune in for sure.